And I believe we are live. Welcome everyone to King Talks, the platform where we share marketing ideas worth spreading. Whether you are joining us on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, please leave us a big thumbs up and feel free to drop any questions or comments because we would love to engage with you further. Our guest today is Kopano Moshohana. Kopano is the CEO and creative lead at KPRM Marketing Solutions, as well as the co-founder of Sorted VA. She holds a BCom degree in marketing management from Boston Business College and a diploma in digital marketing from Shaw Academy. Kopano is proficient in social media marketing, content marketing, influencer management, and just about everything digital. She's all about helping businesses reach their goals through digital marketing and growing their businesses by leveraging virtual assistants. Today, she'll be talking about creating a balance between paid and organic social media and the impact that these can have on one's overall digital marketing strategy. Kopano, the virtual stage is all yours.
Amazing. Oh, that was such a lovely introduction. Thank you so much, Tamara. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for joining in, guys. So essentially, like she had mentioned, we're going to be talking about the balance between organic and paid social media marketing. So I think before I even go into it, I think people that have been quite observant with the social media space and the platforms and how they've, evolved and been changing. And as of late, a lot of organic content is not being shown. It's so sad. Like you thinking you're putting so much effort and work into these platforms, and you're thinking, oh, maybe my audience is not interested, or maybe I'm not really producing much interesting content. But it's not necessarily the case. It's just that many of these platforms today, because they're trying to capitalize on more money, and I think also just the pandemic changed everything as well. That also just amplified the existing situation. It basically took us from a place of having organic content performing really well on these platforms to being propelled to move more onto the paid side because they're making more money. So because they're just thinking to themselves, okay, we're giving them a platform, they're not paying for it, so we're going to make them pay for it. That's literally what happened. But I think the biggest thing today in this discussion is, how do we find a balance? So as much as all of that has happened, probably in the last 2-3 years, the main thing is, at the end of the day, organic social media marketing is still very important till this day. Reason being is because it gives that element of consistency, and it really gives you a long-term brand value as you go. And the way you decide to depict yourself as a brand online consistently plays a very big role in customers eventually purchasing your brand over another brand. So that, for me personally, I think it's very important that we still stick to organic social media marketing, having those updates, regular updates, whether you spreading educational content, service-based content, or promotional content. No matter what the content is, it's about that consistency. It has to be there. You just can't not have it, to be honest. But in the same breath, because of what has been happening, and also having paid social media marketing allows you to then spread your content to a wider audience, right? And when you are spreading your content to a wider audience, there's more chances of you actually connecting with new markets, connecting with existing markets, and just really creating that true return on investment that you're seeking, depending on what your KPIs are within your company or the marketing team. So I usually describe it as having a balanced triad, having a balance of organic and having a balance of paid. So when do you use or let me rather rephrase the phrase. When do you use the different types of social media marketing? A lot of people have asked me this, like, okay, when do I use organic and when do I use paid? So paid, I think it's more on a campaign basis for me personally. It's more of like, if you have a new product and you're trying to really go hard on your go-to market strategy, that's when I feel like paid is really, really great, because you have a quicker way to expose your new product to existing markets and new markets. And then, of course, the aftermath of it all. So once someone sees your ad, right? That's the paid side. Great. They see the ad, they engage with it. Oh, great. Let me find out more information. There are different types of customers as well. So you are basically assisting those that are quite quick to purchase. Maybe if they see an ad once and they're just like, that's actually what I need. Let me quickly go and purchase it. Great. But then there's other types of customers where you need to push them a bit. It's a bit of a nudge. Like, okay, they see the ad the first time. They're like, oh yeah, I did say I needed this, but I'm not too sure. Then that's where organic social media marketing content comes in. It's that consistent messaging that is going through and keeping your brand top of mind to that relevant customer. So that even if, yes, they noticed your ad once and great, it's been exposed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to purchase. So you need to then now start creating follow-up content, which is organic, to convince them to get closer to purchase. So the customer value journey, it's awareness, then we have consideration, then we have purchase. Well, the shortened version of it. And most people tend to think that paid will solve the customer value journey or moving them faster. And it's not really the case. Usually when you are putting up ads, it's more awareness than it is purchase, to be quite honest. And also depending on who you are targeting the ad to, you could also be targeting your ad to maybe a few customers that you've seen throughout your advertisements through retargeting, for instance, where now it's a better chance for you to actually get them to purchase quicker because you've seen the pattern of them consistently checking out your page or checking out the ads that you are putting out. Then it's closer, it's a higher chance for them to actually purchase quicker. But now for those that are quite harder to convince, this is where organic is the magic, because it basically, in addition to you spreading this message to a wider audience, those that decide to engage with it and they still feel like they need more information or more convincing, that's where organic social media marketing content then starts to play a role, because then they will see maybe 3 months worth of content on your page and they're just like, okay, this is impressive. This is enough information, because the whole point of organic social media marketing, which is personally my favorite, is you are literally giving true value to the customer before they actually decide to purchase something from you. So you cannot expect someone to purchase something if they don't understand the true value of it. It's like you going to the mall and you see this new boutique that's open. You're not too familiar with it. You get into that boutique and the person is very persistent and saying that, no, you should get a dress here and all of that. And you are interested. I mean, it's a great store. You're just like, okay, they have nice clothes. It's lovely. But I'm still not comfortable. So that's where now they have to play a role to convince you. So it's kind of it's a similar situation or analogy to kind of describe what both types of social media marketing content and the importance of both. So yeah, essentially that's how I view it. And if I have to choose, even though that's really hard, but if I had to choose, I'd personally do organic content any day, because I feel like it's harder. You have to really be creative to say the same message in different ways. It's like a challenge. But in the same breath, as well as paid social media marketing, I mean, your placements, targeting, everything changes every day. Both have their perks and cons, but personally, I would always root for organic, because it just shows more value over time.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Kopano. I hope that everyone enjoyed the presentation. Lincoln says, hello, guys. Hello to you too, Lincoln. Please feel free to drop any question. We'd be more than happy to answer those. I do have a question for you, though. So you mentioned that consistency is very important, and I know a lot of people struggle with creating consistent content. So do you have any tips for that?
So I would definitely say having a content calendar is always great. And working with themes. So say, for instance, you are in what space? The finance space, for argument's sake. And you are now looking, how can I create consistency in terms of the content that I'm producing? And how can I also save time in the same breath? Because I know a lot of people, it's about, they don't have enough time to be now literally manually posting things every day. So of course, a content calendar and also a scheduling tool. So you have your Hootsuite, you have Afa, you have the content studio, you have the Facebook and Instagram as well, and now Canva. So there's quite a lot of tools at your disposal that can assist you in saving time from a scheduling perspective. And then from a content perspective, like I'd mentioned, kind of putting things into themes. So for instance, a good start would be, if you're in the finance space, for argument's sake, you can then have a look at what are some of the pain points that people consistently come to me for. That's already a first start. I mean, already if you're very passionate about the business and industry you're in, I'm sure you're aware of about 3, 4, 5 pain points that, you know, that particular market you're trying to serve for. You take that information now, and then you start to source, or you start to create rather, content around those pain points and how you as the business can actually assist the potential customer with those following pain points. And you can use that within your content. So this could be through educational content, through service-based content, through articles, blog posts that kind of reaffirm why something is a pain point and how you can actually resolve it, so that people can actually understand what value you're bringing to actually solve their problem. But then you also, in the same breath, have customers where they don't even know they have a problem. So you need to also cater for those that, where it's just like, oh, okay, actually, this whole time I thought I was sorted, but I'm not. Like, I'm actually a mess. I need assistance. So it's really trying to find a sweet spot of catering to the different customers within your buyer persona, and creating bits, different types of content within a calendar month social media planner, let me say. So in order to save time and you want to be consistent and you know that I don't have time, dedicate maybe a good 2-3 hours in your day and say, okay, this is the time for me to start to create some ideas that I can now potentially make as content and produce maybe in a month in advance. So for instance, if you are posting twice a week, so we're looking at 8 posts a month. So now you're going to tell yourself in those 2 to 3 hours, what am I going to create within these 8 posts? And which scheduling tool am I going to use? So that you know within that one day, those 2-3 hours, you've already prioritized an entire month. And some people, they may need more time. That's okay. That's where we come in and we assist you to really guide you on getting to that place faster. But this is for people that are maybe more comfortable and they have a marketing background and they feel that, no, I can actually create my own content, but I just need to really schedule my time properly so that I can get this out. And then, yeah, that's really my 2 cents on how you can be consistent. So having that scheduling tool, having those themes, and even playing around with weekdays, like, you know, how there's like Women Crush Wednesday, you could create some within your company, like maybe Marketing Mondays, for argument's sake. You know, every Monday we are talking about any aspect or topic within marketing that serves as a pain point within whatever niche or industry or customer target audience that you're trying to appeal to. And then, you know, you work your way from there as well. Yeah.
Cool. I just want to touch back on the whole value aspect that you mentioned. So, like, let's say a company like has got a very generic business idea. So let's say they are in makeup or they are in clothing. Like, there's so many clothing brands out there already. How can you set yourself apart by creating value through your clothing brand?
So usually, like you said, with generic, I think it's really just about being ahead of your competitors when it comes to content. That's a good start. A lot of people tend to think, okay, if I just create a Instagram page and I post twice a month and it's only on my feed, I'll be okay. But all your competitors are doing that as well. So how do you go a step further to, stand out? So, like for instance, Instagram. It's such a multi-purpose platform. You have the feed, you have stories, you have reels, you have the IGTV series. So you then decide, okay, and it's also good for you to have a bit of like a competitor analysis. What are your competitors doing for those that are in a very generic way? It's like a lot of people can do it, right? First of all, you should also try to see, how can I niche down so that I'm not for everyone, but essentially I'm for a particular market. Then once you decide to niche for that, whichever industry you decide to niche into, you start to really look at what type of competitor within that space, what are they doing online? You have a good study at what they're doing, and then you start to see the gaps. Like, okay, they're all posting on feed. So maybe I should add feed and stories, or feed and reels, 2 reels a week or something, so that you are basically a step ahead in terms of content, because I think that's the biggest thing. And that's how even the underdog can really overtake the big dog, is that when it comes to content, not everyone is putting as much effort. There's not much options in terms of offering content. Nowadays, it's either you just doing normal posting on social media, or you do have a blog. But how can you go a step ahead? Now people are doing podcasts. People are doing lives like this, webinars and stuff. So it's really about just taking a step ahead in terms of what type of content you put out. So looking at your competitors, what are they doing? What are they not doing? Then you start to do more of that so you can stand out.
Cool. Thank you so much for that. Jessica says that this is so helpful. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Jessica, for tuning in. Tabby's also here. Hey, Tabby. Thank you for joining. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions coming through from the audience, but I do want to, ask a couple of more questions if you don't mind.
No problem at all.
So what would you say to that individual who's like, I've tried Facebook ads before and it didn't work for me. And I think, like Mark Zuckerberg is just trying to steal our money. Like, is it a problem with the app, or is it a problem with the person doing the marketing and running the ads?
You know what, to be honest, I think because of, sorry, just apologies, something's happening here. Just trying to, sorry about that. So the biggest thing that I've realized is these platforms, I don't want to speak bad of them because we use them to really put ourselves out there, but they're becoming very, they're trying to capitalize a lot, and they're trying to monetize from us. So a lot of the procedures have also changed from doing an ad. There's a whole lot more policies. There's a whole lot more hoops that you need to jump through in order to actually have a great performing ad. I think more than anything, when it comes to the advertising side, I think it's just about learning the different policies that are being updated, because there's always new policies. That's another thing with these platforms. There's always policies that you need to update to, especially when you're advertising. And to be honest, I think they're making it a tad harder for you to just simply, promote your product and everything is all good and well. It's basically just going back to my point. You have to jump a few more hoops once again to actually get a great performing post. But I think for those people that feel like they've given up and they don't know what to do, that is where we basically go to the whole point of this discussion. Really try to, accelerate your organic social media marketing process. Yes, I know it's much harder now because, they are promoting paid. But still, just keep being consistent and trying to add new ways of distributing content to your audience. And then, of course, still doing the ads. But I must say, honestly speaking, because of a lot of the policy additions and changes, it has become quite hard, especially from a Facebook perspective. Personally, I've noticed that. And I'm just like, geez, when did we actually get here? Like, it used to be so easy to just have an ad up, and now it's just like different policies, and also depending on what industry. And I know with finance and the health industry, yeah, it's difficult because there's been a lot of scams, and it's fair and understandably get that. But I just feel like it's also just a bit of a difficult process to actually get a good performing ad. I just feel like it's just not the same as it was like 2-3 years ago when you were setting up an ad than when you're setting up an ad now. It's just not the same. So I think it's just about being consistent with organic social media marketing. But if you are still doing paid ads, also the Facebook pixel helps a lot. Like, try to collect as much data as possible so that the next round of doing advertisements get a bit easier for you. So have that Facebook pixel. It's great because it collects every type of data that is taken from the time they view your advertisement to all the way to the call to action that's on the ad, whether it's to click a link to your web or to download a PDF, etc. So that you start to, it kind of gives you like a paper trail or a pattern as to how your customer or target audience is behaving. You take that and you try to implement it in your future ads just to make it easier, in addition to all the policy changes and all of that.
Oh, definitely. And I also think, like, with regards to the whole Facebook ads thing, like, I've noticed that the first ad that you run will be cheap in a sense, and then as you continue running ads, it become more and more expensive, especially if you're going to be targeting the same people, because Facebook noticed the fact that if you retarget individuals, they are more likely to purchase, so they make it more expensive for the advertiser.
And it's crazy. But I guess business is quite ruthless in that, right? I guess they're also trying to make their own money because we're using their platform. But yeah, it's crazy. But that is very true. That's very true.
Tabi wants to know, can you give any advice on simplifying content creation without overwhelming the audience? Like, she feels like, bombarding your audience with too much content can be bad for business as well. So what would you say?
I would say it's about, like I'd mentioned, adding the different features or distribution of content. It's about having a balance. So if you decide, I'm going to post 3 times a week, for argument's sake, the first day you can do a normal feed post that goes directly to your feed. The second day you can do maybe a story. The third day you can round it off with a reel, so that it's not too overwhelming. So one thing that I've also started to realize is that people are posting every single day. I understand it's a pandemic, everyone's on their phones, but people also have to see the same thing repeatedly. Do you understand? So I think it's just about finding that balance with the type of content that you produce, and also the balance in terms of the frequency. As much as, yes, you want to add different ways of distributing content, you still need that fine balance so that you don't really overwhelm the customer. And nowadays with customers, they get overwhelmed very quickly, like easily and very quickly, like, okay, this is too much for me, I can't. So it's really just trying to find a proper balance. So if you tell yourself that you're going to post 3 times a week, try to see how can I best diversify. There we go, that's the word. How can I best diversify my content distribution strategy within those 3 days without it being too much? Hope that answers your question, Tabi.
Tabi, let us know, please, if you are happy with that answer. And like, some marketers actually say that, like, there's no such thing as, like, too much content. I'm not 100% sure about that. Like, if you are providing a lot of value, then, like, you can post as much as you would like to. But if it's all about, hey guys, buy my products, hey guys, buy my products, hey guys, buy my products every single day, that could get annoying. Whereas if you're like, hey guys, here's a tip to do A, B, and C, and then the next day, hey guys, here's another tip, hey guys, here's more helpful content, like, it would be so much more appreciated by your audience. So that's what I'm thinking. Tabi says she's happy with that answer. Thank you,
Thank
Tabi.
you.
Kapina's also joined us. Samuel is also there.
Hi, Samuel.
Samuel. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. I don't see any more questions coming through. So, Kopano, I'd like to know, like, what is that one final last message that you'd like to share with the audience?
I think the biggest thing from just a big take-home point for the discussion that we just had, at the end of the day, the biggest thing is with the content that you're distributing, make sure that it's valuable. No matter if it's an ad that's going to be out or if it's content that you're going to be consistently distributing, please make sure it's on. And I think because the biggest thing also our industry, especially from a local point, is still, it's like people are still not quite sure what digital marketing is and what it can do for them. So it's our duty to really educate them and really get them to understand the value of what it could bring potentially for their organizations or businesses or even brands. So it's really our duty to bring value. That's, I think, yeah, that's, to be honest, the biggest thing from a content perspective. It has to be valuable. If it's not valuable, yes, it will probably do well, but it won't be long lasting. So for those type of that type of content where it's just like it's evergreen, it's classic. Each time I see it, it's just like, oh, it's new. It feels new every time. It's because it actually is valuable and it actually educates the customer and empowers them to actually make better and more informed decisions. That's how I feel. So when you're creating content, think of it in that way that, okay, I'm not trying to also just sell my brand, but I'm also just trying to bring value to the person that I'm trying to sell this product to or service to. What value does it bring at the end of the day? And that's how you need to find a way of how to really sell that. And if you can sell it in different ways, whether it's a video, a podcast, a reel, do it. But of course, with proper frequency, don't overwhelm the audience. But any chance you can get to provide that value, do it. I definitely encourage that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Kopano. Samuel says thank you as well. This was very informative. Thank you, Samuel, for joining us. Kopano, I think we should leave it at that for this week. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and I will see you again next week.
All right. Ciao, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.